I've been wanting to make this video for a while now, but I wanted to wait until our Just Create More community on Mighty Networks had been officially open for at least a month, and now it has. So in this video, I'm excited to present to you my review of Mighty Networks. First, I want to start off with a quick disclaimer / spoiler alert. This video is probably going to sound like a glowing review of Mighty Networks. Plus, I'm wearing the shirt, but rest assured, this video is not sponsored. I'm a paying customer of Mighty Networks on the business plan. I just love this platform that much. It's really been a tool that I wish existed a very long time ago, but that's why I'm making this video, because I'm super excited to tell everybody about it. I do have some caveats or things to think about if you're still shopping for a solution, so feel free to use the timestamps underneath this video to skip around and find the information that you need. And if you want to give Mighty Networks a try, you can start off with a 14-day free trial. There's a link in the description underneath this video. Let's get started. So I want to start off with giving you a little bit of a background of where I was coming before Mighty Networks and what I was hoping Mighty Networks would address in terms of my vision, just so you can get a little bit of info in terms of my specific use case. If you're new here, hello, my name is Heather. I'm a YouTube coach, and just like many others in the education industry, I've had online courses, webinars, consulting, coaching, ebooks, guides, a YouTube channel, many things to build a business around helping people achieve their goals on YouTube. I was coming from a stack that included Podia for my online course and our YouTube mastermind group, Deadline Funnel, which, put a timer on an evergreen funnel. I use ConvertKit for my mailing list, and I had a webinar type of funnel. So you could just kind of imagine people find my YouTube videos, they sign up for my free webinar, they go down an email funnel, and then they eventually get to Podia, where my online course / YouTube mastermind is hosted. And that was great for that. But after talking with my husband, Tom Buck, who is also a YouTube creator, we wanted to create a different kind of resource that encompassed three things. First, we wanted to mimic as much as possible the resourcefulness and helpfulness of a physical building that was dedicated to YouTube creators. So I'm thinking something like a YouTube space or a chamber of commerce or something like that, where you go in, there's a lobby, there's events about different topics, there's, people that you can get coaching with, there's, trainings about this, there's networking events, but it's all dedicated to the mission. And it's easy to navigate. It's easy to be able to kind of pick and choose what you want to get involved with and what you're thinking maybe is not your thing yet. Second thing is we wanted to foster the energy and the momentum that you get when you go to an in-person conference, something like VidCon, or these other conferences where you are surrounded by a bunch of like-minded people who are on the same mission as you. I know for me, whenever I go to something like a VidCon, I always come back just like totally amped and excited to take things to the next level. And it's just, there's something about the energy of being around other people who just get it. We wanted to create something that simulated that. And then lastly, this one's kind of hard to explain, but we wanted to create something that didn't feel as transactional. So, if I think about my online course, Zero to YouTube Hero, here's the system that will help you build the foundation for a thriving YouTube channel, and you pay for it, and then I never talk to you again. And that's what I feel like a lot of resources in the expert industry kind of come off as. It's like, here's the resource, here's the solution for your problem, but then it just kind of once you have it, you're off on your own. And of course, there's coaching and there's group coaching and there's one-on-one calls and stuff like that. But when something like YouTube, where it is so different from everyone, plus it's a platform that's constantly evolving. And even though I'm a YouTube coach, I'll be the first to admit that what I knew yesterday might totally change tomorrow. And that really meant a lot to Tom and I, because we had each other, long story short here, we actually met on YouTube. I was already a year into my YouTube journey. And basically a couple months after we met on YouTube, we started dating, and now we're married, right? So we had each other to lean on, to bounce ideas off of, to get feedback, to, coach each other and kind of just be there for support, which I feel like is so much of what is missing when it comes to online courses and stuff like that. Is you can't read about how to navigate creator burnout. It is something that's very specific to the person and the creator. So Anyway, this is basically where we were coming from. Like, these were the 3 things that were most important to us, and off we went to try to find a solution that solved all of that. I'll link a live stream where we talk about the ones that we were using, like, or considering, like Discord and stuff like that. But really, it just was like we were still trying to piece together different things, like Facebook groups and this, and it's just like, was it possible? Was there a solution that would actually just have it all be in one place? And there is, and it's Mighty Networks. And not only is everything in one place, but it like does so much more than I could have ever hoped for, which is so cool. Okay, so let's get into like the actual platform features. First of all, I'll start off by saying Mighty Networks can totally be your like one-stop hub. So we have our online courses in there. We have our YouTube mastermind group coaching thing in there. Online courses are kind of, straightforward, but basically you can actually upload your actual online course into there, and each online course will have its own space within the entire Mighty Network. So actually, let me back up and try to explain how Mighty Networks works. So first of all, you have your main Mighty Network. And for us, that's called Just Create More. And an online course can be like happening in one room within the Mighty Network. And any activity or discussion or questions that come up within that room are only happening in that room if you wanted to. You can have it like mix, but basically like if you pay for the online course, I only want the people who are in the online course to be able to interact with each other. And that is what Mighty Networks allows you to do. You can also create private groups, right? So if, I don't know, you wanted to do a mastermind group or a group coaching group or something like that, you can have another higher tiered membership and offer it to specific people. And that private group would also have its own separate room with its own features within the Mighty Network. The other big thing that was like a non-negotiable for us was that everyone needed to be able to create profiles and direct message each other. I think that's just crucial to community building, is that everyone is also not just able to connect with us as the host, but to connect with each other. So in the profile, you can have links to your YouTube channels, you can have links to your social media, you could give a little introduction and bio. It should be easy if, you're gonna answer a question in the group, where if I wanna learn more about you, all I have to do is click your name and then I can see everything in one place. So that was absolutely essential, but then also to be able to direct message you without having to leave the platform. Just like on Facebook Messenger, I could just, click your name, click send message, and boom, send you a message right there instantly. And it makes it so easy. It seemed like the other solutions that we were looking at either had one or the other. So we were excited that Mighty Networks has both. The other non-negotiable was threaded discussions. So I know when I jump into Discord, I'm like, I don't even know where to start, especially if you've been offline for a few days. It's like hard to jump back in because like there's just so much to look at. But with threaded discussions and an activity feed that is curated to you, it makes it really easy to like follow along with discussions that take place over several days and where multiple people are chiming in. That was definitely a non-negotiable. And then also the ability to organize discussions into topics. So if you're like new to the community and you're just jumping in, you have the lobby, right? Like you can see, okay, if you want to jump into this room or this topic, you can do that without feeling like super overwhelmed. It's like there's a map. The other thing, which is like super cool that I actually didn't think that we would care too much about, and it's funny because this is such a big selling point for Mighty Networks, but it's not the thing that sold me. But now that we have it, I'm like, I can't believe this was not the thing that sold me, but it's that it has an app, right? So I can't tell you how many members in our community that have said they check the Just Create More community more than they check Instagram and Facebook. I mean, it's like to even have your community be on the same like level as a social media platform in terms of like someone's user behavior is amazing. For me, I prefer desktop and laptop, but that's, obviously I like to provide access and ease of use to the community members. And so many of them access Mighty Networks through the app for both iOS and Android, which is awesome. And it's like really good too. I mean, it's just like a seamless user experience. And when you think about how much Mighty Networks offers plus an app, it's kind of crazy that as of today, the business plan is only $81 a month when you pay annually. Like, I think I can't believe that that's how much it costs to be able to do what we do, to basically have your own app. That's so cool. So 2 more things that aren't necessarily feature related with Mighty Networks, but are awesome benefits because of Mighty Networks. First is you don't have to constantly create content, right? So I think many of us in the tutorial-based type of industry, we always feel like we have to constantly create content, write more blogs, post more on social media, make more videos, all of that. But in the Just Create More community, because every member is not just following and they're not just subscribing, but they're joining a community, they're participating, they're contributing, all you really have to do is like prompt and foster and cultivate the connections, but people can take it from there. So what we saw very quickly, and this was actually, surprisingly a new thing for us. Like we didn't realize it until it happened, and we were like, oh yeah. So at first when we launched, we were like, okay, we want to know everything that's going on. Let's look through every discussion and reply and like ask questions and stuff like that. But what we saw very quickly was that we could honestly not keep up with everything that was going on. People were just, doing their own polls and honestly, people who were more qualified, like in terms of videography and photography, chiming in, sharing their experience and their background and being super helpful and encouraging. That's stuff that like isn't just the host. That's just like providing the platform for people to contribute. And that is so different from the constant hamster wheel of like, you are always the one who is giving. With this, it's like you've built the table. It's not even building the table. You've built the table for people to just gather at. And you are the first person to answer or ask a question. And then like people can just naturally take it from there. And the other thing is I can't believe how productive the group is able to be because it's so optimized and streamlined to focus on the mission at hand. So to me, I really like Facebook groups, but I absolutely hate Facebook. And it's really hard to be productive and stay on topic and be encouraging and supportive when you as a coach are up against who knows what is popping up in your members' feeds. Like how would you even know? And that's just like the tip of the iceberg when it comes to Facebook groups. So even though I love the functionality of Facebook groups, Mighty Networks has all of that without the Facebook. And it's crazy like how much our group is able to get done in a short amount of time compared to like, just constant distractions on Facebook. And because you're not working with something like Facebook, 1, there are no ads. 2, you have full control on whether your community members actually see your posts. So you can send them a notification for every single thing you post, or some of them. You can control what posts are featured and stuff like that. And 3, you own your audience. So you have every single community member's email and you can decide when or how to contact them. Now let's talk about caveats. I don't really have any flaws because any, flaws or things that I wish were there are very easily updated and changed as they're updating the software. So there's nothing like make or break there. But for these caveats, I feel like I had to like reframe how I approached my business because of these 3 things. So I feel like they're worth noting. First is flipping your funnel. So I want to say I grew up. The funnel that I was taught, I guess is a better way of putting it, is like an evergreen funnel or a launch type of model where you have a webinar or, a big launch event, and then people sign up for your mailing list, and then you do the email funnel, and then that takes them to a sales page or a landing page that has a countdown on there. And then, you have like a certain amount of time for them to get some kind of discounted price to your online course and stuff like that. That's the funnel, system that I knew. In Mighty Networks, you can't really do this, or you can, but it's like, it's not as straightforward as that. So let me explain how this is working for us. For Just Create More, our community is $20 a month. That's the base membership that gives you access to our main Mighty network. My online course, 022 Hero, is $200. But if you want to, get 022 Hero, you also have to get membership to Just Create More, which is tricky, right? Because now it seems like, you can't just offer an online course at $200. They also have to pay for the network that's, $20 times 12 on top of that. Of course, you can bundle and you can, make it so that there's some kind of discount for membership and stuff like that. But, either way, that's going to be significantly more for the online course by itself, and there's no other way to get around that. If you want to give access to something in your Mighty network, they have to be part of the basic network first. Now, if your basic network is free, then that, it's a no-brainer. But for us, we have a paid network. It's hard when they're paying to just be there, and now they also have to pay for something else on top of that, and it just like bumps the price up with everything else. When I say funnel flipping, it's like you get people into the networking, and like from there, if they want to take the next step or get more support, they have all the options within Mighty Networks. But this is that tricky part where it's like, okay, if you're, you can have different plans if you're selling internally or externally to somebody who's not even part of the network yet. But there is that caveat, like if you have a paid network, they have to obviously pay for that too, in addition to whatever it is that you are selling. So like even for our YouTube Mastermind, which is $100 a month, they can't just join the $100 a month YouTube Mastermind. They also have to pay for the Just Create More network. Not that big of a deal in that case because it's $120, but I can see how with other, options that people offer can get kind of tricky. That brings me to my next point about plans and access. So for 022 Hero, you would only get 12 months access to the content since I was always updating it. So I just felt like, does it make sense for someone to buy the course like 3 years ago and they still have access to it? So I really wanted to have there to be some kind of cutoff point. And then like, if you wanted to renew, you had that option, but you had to pay again in order to get the new content or to keep access. There is not a way to do this in Mighty Networks. You can sell an annual plan, which, by the nature of an annual plan, once the 12 months are up, someone would have to be like, do I want to renew my membership or renew my access? But then you wouldn't be able to charge monthly. And I definitely like having a monthly option to be able to offer for people who need a payment plan. There are ways to address this with something like Zapier. Like I'm sure you can automate something where if someone's membership is coming up on the 11th month mark, then you can like send an email or cancel membership and stuff like that. But there isn't like a way that's built in within Mighty Networks to charge by access, like time of access. Duration is a better word. Duration of access. And the other caveat is native video and live streaming. Although I do think that this is a feature that will eventually come to Mighty Networks, it is not a feature as of me making this video. So you can upload videos to Mighty Networks, but there is a size limit. If you are doing an online course, you can upload videos, but the thing that annoys me the most about the videos that I upload to Mighty Networks right now is that there isn't a way to adjust the playback speed, which doesn't seem like that big of a deal unless you are a fellow 1.5x/2x consumer like me, where, I listen to a lot of content and I like to, make it go a little faster, and there's no way to do that if you upload your video natively. So the way that we've been getting around that is uploading unlisted videos to YouTube, because YouTube has its own built-in controls. But I have a feeling that once they're able to offer native video, that will be an option. And the other thing is live streaming. So one of my favorite things about Facebook groups is that you can give all of your members access to live stream into the group anytime. And I do think that that's a really cool feature, because there are plenty of members who have something to share, or, they can troubleshoot through a problem, and it could all be done live. And there's no way to do that like within the platform natively, you would have to post something like a YouTube link, which, you know, not big of a deal, but would love to have that built into the platform. So here's how I'll wrap up this video. I think that Mighty Networks truly provides a solution for the enthusiasm economy, which, if you have heard me talk before, you know that I'm very passionate about the enthusiasm economy. Basically, to me, what Mighty Networks is able to do is not only provide the solution for online courses and group coaching and these other more traditional or more common ways of monetizing a business online, but then also I really think that it provides a solution for people who don't necessarily look like your typical content creators or typical online business owners, because it's rooted in this idea of community. And community is a very, in terms of like what Mighty Networks approaches it at, it's a very different, it's a resource in itself that people are totally willing to pay a premium price for. And my favorite part about this whole model is that you don't necessarily have to be an expert, right? Like if you're looking for something that's very transactional, you're the expert, you're passing on the knowledge, Mighty Networks can help you do that. But if you're starting on day one, your enthusiasm is still something that is valuable to other people who want to be on that same journey. And Mighty Networks can provide a solution where you could monetize that. Like, you could build a community around something that you're enthusiastic about, even if you're not, you know, already like working in this space. Mighty Networks defines a community as a group of people who are mastering something important or interesting together. And, you know, that's very different from like, here's the solution and you go off and do your own thing. And I think that's, you know, I've said this earlier, the thing with YouTube is that it's a journey. You know, I'm 5 years into this and I don't plan to stop, and it's constantly evolving and it's different for everybody. So to me, it's like, if you want to build something where it's like you are super into this and you want to unite people who are also just as into it as you are, and you guys are along for the ride, like, that is a completely different solution or resource than these other more, you know, I'm passing on knowledge. And it's great because it also takes into account that everyone's going on their own pace. You know, like, maybe some people can run a marathon, you know, and train in 6 months, but there's some people who are just like, I need to get off the couch and run 1 mile, and that in itself is an accomplishment. But the enthusiasm of someone who's just getting started can still feed into someone who has, you know, been running for years. Do you see what I mean about like creating the platform for those two people to even meet in the first place? Like, that's totally different from these other tools and solutions and ways of monetizing. And that's why I don't even care about, like, you know, there are some things with Mighty Networks that I'm like, oh, you know, I wish we could do like group chats, like something very like menial. It's not like, you know, make or break for the platform, but like, I am here for the ride. Like, I'm on board with the vision, and I really do feel like this is a solution that a lot of people are going to be able to build a business around. And it's very, very exciting, which is why I wanted to make this video. So if you want to give Mighty Networks a try, you could start off with a 14-day free trial, link in the description underneath this video. You can also check out our community, me and Tom's community, called Just Create More. And you can find us at justcreatemore.com. It's a community for passionate and dedicated YouTube creators. Also, I had the opportunity to interview the founder and CEO of Mighty Networks, Gina Bianchini. So if you want to learn more about Mighty Networks, check out this video next. See you over there.